Perhaps we all have seen the classic and still modern anime series of Neon Genesis Evangelion, and even though this anime has been around for more than 20 years, it is still considered an incomplete anime due to the whole and now extended release date of the fourth installment of the Rebuild series, this being Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Tries Upon a Time. Nevertheless, we cannot deny how fascinating Evangelion is, and just how it has maintained us in a state of wonder, uncertainty, and depression with its complex story, plot twist, and the psychological struggles that each character faced throughout the series. Unfortunately, in this video, I won't be covering the plot of Evangelion since I really recommend for anybody who's interested to watch the complete series before the release of the final installment. That's if they ever decide to release it. But what I will be unraveling, however, are some of the deep mysteries and questions from the saga that are being kept inside the central dogma and away from the public. In other words, questions from the anime series and the movie. I just wanted to sound cute.
This sucks.
Yeah, me.
So prepare to get on the stupid robots, Shinji. This is Jamshaw's Unravel. I would first like to mention that there will be major spoilers in this video, so if you do not wish for me to ruin the series for you, I would recommend switching to another video or channel.
Did you hear me? I said get off my lawn now.
The Evas are clones of Adam covered in armor in order to control and sustain their true power, and they are used to fight the angels that threaten to destroy all life on Earth. The main reason why NERV and other organizations across the globe use Evas in order to combat the angels is due to the immense power that the Evas contain within their core and flesh. Well, the Evas are made from the same material as the angels, and they are the best weapon or method to trespass their AT fields. Still doesn't make sense? Well, think of an army full of ants fighting a human. The artillery of an ant may be composed of plants or other minerals that are counter-effective to the human tissue. If the ants were to fabricate a being that is closely related to a human, with the same height and same strength, that will get a great advantage to the ants during the fight against the humans. Rei Ayanami is mostly a shell or a container that is used to preserve the soul of Lilith. Although the containers are believed to be made out of the flesh of Lilith that is located inside the central dogma, it is fair to assume that she may also derive from the body of Adam, just like the Evas and Kaworu Nagisa. There is no definite number of Reis present throughout the series, since you have the 3 Reis along with a pool of clones and the many apparitions of Rei throughout the third impact. Now, although hardcore fans may have counted how many Reis appeared during screen time of the series and the movie, you will have to take under consideration that Rei may have been present and witnessed the Instrumentality project on every living being across the earth during the final impact. The Instrumentality project mainly failed due to the complexity of the human mind along with emotions and the ability to merge into one big colossal mind, abandoning its individualism in the process. In simple terms, the thought of all humans becoming one in order to reach internal harmony is a false expectation, just how many countries try to reach a perfect utopian society where no one dies and no one suffers. Unfortunately, even though such thoughts may be considered to be the best way to beat sorrow, depression, pain, and other imperfections, the main aspect that defines us as human and self-conscious beings are the mere defects composed of our flaws and erroneous acts. Gendo, NERV, and Silly theorized that the people will accept the unification of minds and souls, but what they did not consider was that by unifying every conscious mind, it will disable barriers and privacy among everybody. So if you had deep dark thoughts and secrets that you hold close to the chest, they will be exposed to the vast number of minds inside the godlike being of the forbidden mixture. Other minds will know what you hold, and they will also know what you have done, therefore judging you for eternity and creating a never-ending hell where people know your thoughts and you can see other people's thoughts as well. Due to this result, humans rejected the Instrumentality project because they could not adapt to the new evolution of becoming one supreme being. Now, who decides for everybody to go back to their own body in the end? Well, that would be Shinji. Well, not a reboot or a remake exactly. You see, even though it is easy to assume that the Rebuilt series is a mere reboot or a remake of the original series from the 90s, the Rebuilt series begins to introduce an entirely different version from the original storyline just when the second installment arrived in 2009, You Cannot Advance. You could argue that the first rebuild, You're Not Alone, could have been a recap from the original series. However, the sequel will be the one that will introduce a new interpretation of the first chronological sequence of the anime, as well as presenting the new character of Mari Illustrious Makinami. In addition, the ending of the second installment will conclude with the formation of the third impact and the arrival of Kaworu Nagisa during the post-credit scene of the movie. It is then when the whole plot branches out from the original series and begins a new interpretation of the old story. The events that occur during the end of the second installment and the beginning of the third installment can be discussed in another segment, since it is a long and very complex gap that needs to be addressed in its own video.
Let me know if you would like for me to explain it in another video.
However, I would say that the reason why Hideaki Anno, the creator of Evangelion, decided to keep people in the dark and just explain what happened throughout the movie as a form of mystery and folktale is due to the story revolving around the main character Shinji. Shinji is merged with Eva Unit 1 at the end of the second movie, and it is expelled at the beginning of the third movie, 14 years later according to the storyline. So if Shinji is not aware of what happened during his absence, neither will the audience. Now, some may argue that this was an awful move from the writers, making the Rebuilt series unwatchable and basically ruining the entire franchise. Nevertheless, I disagree. If the events that took place during the 14-year gap between both movies in the story were to be shown on the third movie, it would just be a mirror version of the end of Evangelion. If you were to show the events that mirror the movie from 1997, then you will actually be creating a remake. I believe that Hideaki Anno and the writers wanted to present a different version and not an exact replica with better animation. This gives the Rebuilt series a story of its own. Now, the biggest example that I can come up with of this being a smart choice is the anxiety and the anticipation of not knowing how the story will end in the fourth installment. The loop theory is pretty much the thought that the entire story or universe of Evangelion loops over and over endlessly after the rejection of the Instrumentality project. Even though it has transcended to a distinct route from the original story, this is theorized due to the certain hints that are mentioned throughout the Rebuilt saga. In the rebuilt version of Evangelion, we are still introduced to the same characters, but they are rebuilt in a much stronger way. This is demonstrated by the way Kaji decides to fight back instead of getting assassinated by Silly, and how Asuka is a much stronger character this time around in contrast to the old Asuka from the anime, facing a severe mental breakdown towards the end of the series and during the movie. The second hint is how Kaworu is able to remember his affection towards Shinji, but the words he expresses during his post-credits scene of the second movie, "I will make you happy this time." Third and final is how the symbol of Silly is embedded on the Dead Sea Scrolls and how it unravels the prophecy and the exact time of arrival from the angels after the second impact. It can also be argued that perhaps the Dead Sea Scrolls are none other than a manual or a guide on how to fight the angels and implement the Instrumentality project from an older version of Silly to a future version of Silly, therefore creating a never-ending loop where the story repeats over and over just with a few small details. From a quick verdict, some may say that Shinji and Asuka never had anything more than just a miscellaneous kiss and a continuous rivalry to demonstrate who's better at piloting the Evas, well, at least under Asuka's perception. However, there are some scenes that might just tell a different story. During the instrumentality process and the breakthrough of Shinji, we are shown a clip of Asuka being on top of Shinji and Shinji pinned on the bottom looking away as if he was not enjoying the intercourse session. This is believed to be memories from either Shinji and Asuka, given the fact that they are now inside the vast number of minds and that anybody can see the hidden secrets of both characters. And just how everybody inside the Instrumentality project can now peek inside and reveal the true memories and thoughts of other people, so can the audience. Furthermore, during episodes 15 and 16, we can notice various circumstances that lead to the conclusion that Shinji and Asuka may have had intercourse during the night that Asuka kissed Shinji and was rejected by Kaji at the same time. Knowing the character of Asuka and her impulsive behavior due to the hormones and mental instability, it is a probability that Asuka may have invited Shinji to her bedroom and sleep with him in order to get back at Misato for stealing her man Kaji, and at the same time taking revenge on Kaji for not looking at her as a woman. Therefore using Shinji as a tool in order to relieve her hate, jealousy, and frustration towards both of them. In addition, during episode 16, Shinji's hormones, confidence, and synchronization level were stimulated due to unknown reasons. It is to speculate that due to the night of sex between him and Asuka, it will be the prime reason for Shinji's sudden change and spike levels of comfort during the fight against the 12th angel. I hope you guys liked the video and let me know if you would like for me to unravel more theories about Evangelion. Like always, make sure to stay tuned because I like to make videos every time I feel like it. Also, don't forget to follow me on my other social medias.
And my WeChat también.
This is Jamshot, and I'm out.